Greetings, welcome one and all to Diamond in the Rough.
Fasten your seatbelts.
Where we dig to uncover the good in what is widely considered a bad project. Because there's always something of value to be found if you look hard enough, right? Yin and yang, where there's a shadow cast, there must be light. And my mom always says, if you don't have something good to say, then why say it at all?
Enough said.
It's about critical thinking, my friends.
This is something else.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at the great example of the kooky and talented Sam Raimi.
Groovy.
Looking at his portfolio, he's got a rap of memorable films that have set him apart from ordinary filmmakers. With his affinity for the horror genre, Raimi has a knack for the macabre and grotesque that he blends well with his quirky comic-like style, showing an interest in adapting superhero stories to film with his efforts in Darkman. His ambitions were furthered when given the opportunity to make Spider-Man, 2002.
It's Spider-Man!
Its incredible success spawned two sequels with Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
While 1 and 2 are considered objectively decent movies,
They love me.
the third one took a turn on the other hand. And yeah. But while I am in agreement with that sentiment, I argue that Sam Raimi had some strong moments in the making of Spider-Man 3.
Now dig on this.
We have to keep in mind that Raimi has a specific style. He's very tongue-in-cheek. He takes every opportunity he can to bring self-awareness to a scene. It makes his comedic filmmaking his own.
Here's the real truth.
The movies are goofy. Each Spider-Man movie he's made is super goofy. You can tell he's having fun with the elements of the superpowers and the insane plot lines. His approach lends itself well to cinematic superhero storytelling. It feels like Raimi may have gotten a little carried away with his goofiness, but there is a steady groundedness that spans across all three films. There's a heart to the core of the story, a la MJ and Peter and Harry.
Ooh, my spider sense is tingling. If you know what I'm talking about.
Even though that heart feels a little waning by the third movie,
Please don't say that.
it's supplemented by extra goofiness. This lighthearted approach to superhero storytelling was a bit of a departure from the trend of dark, brooding superhero movies at the time. And it most likely set the trajectory for superhero films going forward. All of Marvel pays homage to Sam Raimi's cinematic efforts, referencing his films in No Way Home and Across the Spider-Verse. Marvel even had him direct a film in the MCU. Sometimes this movie feels like an homage to the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. A lot of it is a rom-com stuffed into a superhero story. Peter now seems like he has his life together, for the most part. His love with MJ strengthened, and he finally got respect as Spider-Man, even though he's still a loser as Peter, for some reason. He gets picked on by classmates in a college class, and even gets picked on by little kids outside.
Hey, stick around, it's gonna start again in a couple minutes.
Yeah, that's okay.
I guess because he's a smart nerd? I don't know. It's the early 2000s, so I guess that was still a thing that happened. Anyway, he has a couple of loose ends to tie up. One being his friendship with Harry, and the other, of course, being balancing his great power and his great responsibilities. Spider-Man 3 does a great job of setting up these elements. Peter finally makes it to MJ's Broadway play, but of course, since it's Peter, he's bookended by two large men, making his timeliness still somewhat uncomfortable. Harry is also there to support their mutual friend MJ, with a bit of a clumsy love triangle. I say clumsy since Peter is supposed to be with MJ for real at this point. But now with Harry and Peter at odds, it gives Harry incentive to be more of a dick, playing a less friendly tug of war with MJ than we saw in the previous movies.
If you want Peter to live,
You're gonna do something for me.
It's a little odd because while Harry has clear motivations for doing this, MJ's motivations in actually going along with it seem a little hazy or shitty at best. Either way, it serves to strengthen Peter's ambitions to be the best he can be. And since he seems to come up short as Peter Parker, he leans heavily into his Spider-Man persona, where he isn't a loser and everyone loves him. I think it's a brilliant contrast that we haven't seen in any other Spider-Man movie adaptation since. Also, the camera movement and shots during this entire opening scene in the theater are very well done. The reveals and the pacing especially help to immerse the audience into the hectic life of Peter Parker. I'm not gonna lie, we really gotta dig deep for this one because yikes. Aside from Gwen and Venom practically being props to give Spider-Man something to do, Gwen at least serves as a potential temptation for Peter's hubris, since he struggles to feel well liked as much as Spider-Man is. And even though the Venom symbiote is just a plot device here, it does help to show how desperate Peter is to retain his popular image and bring some of that charisma to his life as Peter, the civilian. He uses the abrupt appearance of this symbiote to do all sorts of feats out of malice and pure ego, becoming increasingly self-serving. These were all very interesting dynamics that could have really strengthened the overall film if explored more. Peter and MJ's souring relationship is well illustrated from the very beginning of the film. They seem to struggle with empathy for each other's personal responsibilities while pursuing their own ambitions. They both want validation for their respective efforts, but neither seem to get enough satisfaction. They tunnel vision into their own goals to a nearly narcissistic level. This is seen right after MJ's performance.
Tell me again, was I really good? I was so nervous, my knees were shaking.
Your knees were fine.
The applause wasn't very loud.
Now, whether this is intentional or not, I feel like it helps strengthen some of the characters' complexities. MJ and Peter are talking at each other, neither really absorbing what the other says. Looking at this contextually, Peter seems distracted after his encounter with Harry, and it's doubly emphasized when he goes to talk with MJ to discover that Harry had also brought flowers for MJ in an even bigger vase, which is also done in a brilliant reveal.
I love my flowers, they're beautiful. And those are from Harry.
This scene helps establish the ongoing love triangle between the three, and foreshadows further complications to come for Pete and MJ. Although the critical reception was poorly rated, this movie was a massive box office success, stirring buzz and spawning memes galore.
So good.
It has gone on record that Sam Raimi had a different vision for Spider-Man 3, favoring other characters over Venom, a character he was pressured into including in his film. Raimi was far more interested in Sandman and wanted to even add Vulture if a third villain were to be included. The conflicting creative vision showed in the film, Raimi's apathy towards particular characters becoming very apparent in the final product. However, the moments that Raimi did care for really stood out. The moments that Peter shared with Harry or MJ had significantly more care and artistry in shot composition and camera motion. The central premise of the franchise is, with great power comes great responsibility. Peter's arc in this film accentuates this premise with his moral spectrum being called into question as he juggles his own wants and needs with MJ's and Harry's. While Venom could have easily fit this narrative, Raimi was much more invested in connecting a more human entity to the story with Sandman. His moral dilemma also fits the narrative, juxtaposed to a vindictive Peter, which in turn juxtaposes Peter to a vindictive Harry. Harry wants vengeance for his father's death, the Green Goblin, and Peter wants vengeance for his Uncle Ben. These are great dynamics laid in place, and they all serve to complete the arc that Raimi had been building up since the first film. So whether things got muddied up by too much sand or too much symbiotic goo, the ideas structured here are gems in their conception. This has been Diamond in the Rough. Thanks for digging with me. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think of this format. We'd love to hear what y'all got to say. All right, y'all, peace.